Puff out your chest, take a deep breath, you're gonna be okay.
How are we doing, everybody? My name is Sunny, and you can call me Pastor Zen, actually. This is my stage name. I'm a pastor, not really. I'm an MC, I'm a poet, um, I'm an author, I'm a student, I'm a schizo, genius, prophet, king. I contain multitudes, as Mr. Walt Whitman would say. And today I am putting on my interviewer cap to talk with a homie. Her name is Meghan McCarthy. Super cool individual, dope person. Um, I consider her a friend, and she's somebody who I think is interesting to talk to for this reason. I think that a lot of people kind of take the traditional routes in many things, and she strikes me as somebody who is very comfortable in her own skin, doing things that are a little bit off the beaten path. She's kind of forged her own lane in that respect. I think with regards to her approach to schooling her kids, to her connection with the natural world, to things that she's able to do that maybe people would see as a little bit odd, and she's just very comfortable doing. And so that attracted me to her and made me want to speak with her a little bit deeply, a little bit more deeply about why she decided to do the things that she decided to do. So yeah, we're not gonna get too crazy with it. It'll be about a 30-minute conversation, and we'll chop up about her hobbies with baking, her decision with homeschooling. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about some existential stuff like femininity in the modern age. But I'm not gonna make her talk too much about those stuff. We're just gonna maybe keep it light. And yeah, so once again, my name is Sunny, and this is Meghan McCarthy. We kind of knew each other a little bit in high school, but I feel like we reconnected because of the internet as everything happens. So without getting too deep into it, first and foremost, Meghan, what is kind of your, I guess, I don't know, like what is your sense of how to live? Like that seems like a big question, but in terms of like why you kind of decided to like, I don't know, how did you get that confidence to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start a farm, or yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do things that like maybe in like modern culture don't seem as like as a given. I don't know, like how did you kind of gain that sense of yourself to be able to just do that?
I really don't know. I guess I've just kind of always been a little bit of an intuitive person. Um, I don't know. I really have no idea. I just kind of do it and I don't really think about it too often. But I have this conversation with my sister, and I really think it has a lot to do with, and I'm not trying to go super deep into it, but my sister, she had cancer when she was little, and I thought
Mm,
she was gonna die. So I feel like a lot of that like
mm,
reflected me as like a going on, like future wise, future me. Because like you were so I wasn't close to death, but I was so close to death with somebody else that I got to experience that I feel like that opens up a whole new realm of like feeling and intuitiveness, especially that I was like 5, she was 4, she had turned 4 when she had gotten her kidney taken out, so we
wow.
were we were only 13 months apart. So I don't know, I think that has a lot to do with it. And I don't know if that even makes any type of sense to how that can even relate to today,
No, that makes
because
perfect sense.
I was able to, I don't know, just connect more. Maybe just having that experience allowed me to have more of an appreciation for life and do what I want to do. I don't know. It's kind of hard.
I like that. Who's that? Your younger sister, Callie?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's crazy. And I think that that makes a lot of sense now because it does seem like the ability to cut through the baloney sometimes requires you to have like a higher stakes, I mean, at least a higher stakes awareness, and the intuitiveness maybe comes a little bit from that, just being aware of how some of these things don't always go according to plan. So it's kind of like do what you kind of can in the moment.
Yeah.
In terms of how you like, what is okay? So what is the story behind the farm? Like, how did that become a thing? Like, what is that sort of?
Um, that, so I'm not gonna lie, that was mostly my husband. So he had like gotten, so it was around 2016, 2017, where we got the idea. And then we started volunteering for this organic farm because we would go to there was a co-op in Homewood right down the street.
Yeah.
And we would go there. And that's how we met this Farmer Jim Armstrong. And he was an organic farmer. And he invited us to, well, mostly my husband. And then my husband brought me into it because I had just had a baby. And we were farming. Like we would volunteer his organic farm, and it was just like it just made sense. It was really, really cool because he was he's that was 7 years. He was 70. Like he was a 70-year-old well, he's still
Wow.
organic farming, but like he had just started like 4 or 5 years before that. Like so he started the farming game when he was like 65. And then this is where it happened. And then he just used all of this with like volunteer work. And after that, we gained a really great relationship with him. There was another farmer, Gary, on there, and we don't really have a relationship with anymore, but he was the top flower producer in the United States. And he was volunteer. So we've been able to like learn from the best of the best, like just in our backyard. It was so cool.
Oh
So,
man.
and it was just
That's
like
super dope.
coincidence or like, life meaning you're supposed to meet these people and show you the way to where you're supposed to be. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't believe in coincidence, so I think that that definitely has some sort of cosmic reverberations going on in there. Shout out Farmer Jim for sure. You kind of mentioned this a little bit. You talked about having your kids and that. I don't know, like maybe the question coming out of that is more so about motherhood and womanhood and like the intersection of those things and how you kind of parse those identities. And so, what does I guess motherhood mean to Megan? Like, what does being a woman, being a mother, being a mom, like all of those things kind of tied in together? How does that like impact your life walk and your life journey? Because now you got like these other human lives that are kind of dependent on you, but also in a way that they're also their own individual entities. So I don't know, like how do you kind of navigate that walk? Because I feel like that's a whole other thing that's kind of complicated, but maybe kind of simple. Maybe you can educate us a little bit.
so it's very complex. It's complex because it's like I have 3 kids, 2 kids from a different, like, from one, I had a kid really young. So the motherhood things, like I've been a mom since I've been 17, and motherhood has definitely changed from being 17 to 29. And
Right.
that's a huge difference. But now it's just more along the lines of just guiding them to be the person who they want to be as an individual, but being the best versions of themselves. And I guess that's what every single parent wants them to be. But I don't hold them back in any aspect of like what they want to do or how they want to do it, just as long as like they're not going to get themselves hurt. And then motherhood itself, I don't know, it's changed a lot. Even in the past ever since Olive's been born, it's, I don't know, being a mom to a daughter is so healing in a way. I never
Mm,
thought that I would have a daughter, but like it has altogether overall made me a better mom. I can't
mm.
even let's try to get a more pinpoint question because like this is just so
It is kind of, yeah, a little bit, a little, yeah, wide ranging. I'm trying to like hit all of the potential things I wanted to hit, but at the same time, let you kind of speak to what you wanted to. I guess,
yeah.
um, oh man, there's a lot of ways I can take it, but with being a mom and like helping them become their own person, is that like something that you feel? Because you talked about, okay, having a daughter now is something that has changed your perception of it. Is that something that has
Yeah.
made you like just more aware of that huge responsibility, or is it something where you almost feel like one of the things I used to think about is how I'm actually watching my parents grow up as well. And that
Yeah.
kind of gave me a little bit more empathy for them because it's like they're learning on the go too. So it's like, is it more like a symbiotic thing where you're learning from them as much as they are from you, or is it
Oh,
still like a
absolute absolutely. So I'm constantly learning from my kids. I when I sit there and I get if I lose patience on them, I'm like, oh, I literally just did what they were doing to me, and I'm just like, I'm no better. Like they're on an equal plane because I'm no better than they are because I still lose. I lose my shit as much as they lose theirs. And with Olive, I guess it was more healing because with her, I was able to see myself, like the healthy version of myself. She's able to grow up in an environment without like the traumas that I had to grow up with. And like, and I guess that's all situational. Like I wasn't traumatized growing up, but like me being little, my sister having cancer and all that, my daughter doesn't have to go through that. So she gets to be able to live life the way that I should have been able to live the life. And not that my parents did anything wrong, but I don't know.
I hear you.
I
It's
don't
almost
know.
like
Yeah.
you've just had the experiences, and so now you can kind of sublimate them in a way that makes them like you've internalized, and you can now create a better environment for little Olive to now
Yeah. And
grow up into who she is.
yeah. And then I read this, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but there's this book called The Continuum Concept. And it's like,
Oh,
um, you just, it goes along with motherhood and teaching your kids. It's that you just go like, they go along with what you do no matter what. They learn best through you just living your daily life. And like I guess that kind of like rolls into like homeschooling because the book is about this woman who she traveled to like other like first world countries and stuff like that and like studied how they raise children, and their children were so much happier and so much more well behaved than children in Europe or America or whatever. And it just falls in line with the continuum concept where these people just they live their life. They don't have any special toys for their kids. They just when they let their kids play, and then if they want to start cooking food with you, you just let them start cooking food with you. Or like with me, like I had to do my taxes. My daughter sat there and did my taxes with me. Like, it's like I don't know. It's like
I love it.
they just go along with what you're doing and they learn so much more and they're a lot more behaved, and it's connecting because it's just a matter of connecting through life experiences and not it's hard as an adult to sit down and play with a kid. It's once you get to like a certain point, like
Yeah,
it takes a lot of mental effort. So if you're able to connect with them through the things that you like doing, and regardless of, it just creates that connection, and then they're able to feel that cup filled, whether it's something they necessarily like to do or not, but it's still being filled. All kids want
yeah,
in the long run is connection and
yeah.
understanding. And yeah, I don't
I love
know.
that. No, that's like that time and intention. It feels like maybe less prescriptive and more just like allowing life to unfold and kind of
Yeah.
responding as you see fit. I guess the last couple questions, because I do have to get out of here soon, unfortunately. I could
Yeah.
go on this for forever, but you mentioned homeschooling, and I think that's another thing that I wanted to kind of hit on because
Yeah.
a lot of folks like see that almost like a scary thing or like they're not sure how to approach it. So I
Hmm.
would guess I would ask how do you kind of approach homeschooling? What is your sort of structure around that? And then is that something that your kids respond to well? Is that something that you feel like you had to sort of work around with how they socialize and stuff like that? Or is it something that they naturally were had an affinity for?
So my kids are more socialized than probably your average adult. They get so much more like so, and I guess that just go my basis of homeschooling is like the social emotional health that comes from it is that when you're more mature and have that social emotional connection with people, or a strong like social, I don't know what else to explain it, like a
Yeah,
social radar, like I don't know, um they are some of them, they could read a room better than most other kids their age. And because they get to play with kids unrestricted in nature all the time. Like, so with homeschooling, I unschool. I don't know. I don't follow a curriculum. I teach them to read, I teach them math, but it's along the things of basis interest and outside play, and specifically play with children that's not like when I play with children that's not structured. So like let's say we go to I host a nature group at a forest preserve, and all the moms and dads are there, but the kids like will sit there and they'll fight, but we don't interrupt unless they're like actually being verbally abusive or
Right.
hurtful or whatever, because most of the times they'll figure it out themselves, and then they could they just go on about it. And a lot of kids don't get to do that at all. Like they don't even get to
Mm,
experience that, like that conflict resolution like themselves. It's
right.
usually the conflict resolution is stopped before it even happens. Like, you know, the kids start pushing each other in school on immediate detention without any understanding of what happens, hearing one kid out, because most of the time it's not a big deal, you
Yeah.
know? Kids
Yeah.
just, you know, and also in school that there has been very few physical altercations in like that nature group setting,
Yeah.
because they're out there getting their energy out unrestricted. And when you're in school, you're just sitting there all day. And
Yeah.
like that energy is pent up, and the kids have they have anxiety. They're like thinking all of this, and they're, you know, things that adults do naturally. They're thinking about all the things they want to get into the day. And then so when something like bothers them, they're going to freak out because their brain is just going so fast. They have so much on
Yeah.
their mind. And when the kids are homeschooled or not homeschooled or whatever, like the way that I raise my children, they're allowed to we do what they want to do. We do things I have to do, things I want to do too. But it's just like they understand that. They're understanding of those concepts. Like if we do what you want to do when you want to do it, then they have that creative freedom in their head to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And if that's so, I feel like that itself is so good for them. Like, because when
It's
they're
freeing.
older,
Yeah.
it's freeing. They're able to do what they want to do and like dive into things like
Yeah.
that
They
most
haven't
kids
learned
don't.
like the boundaries that like the social boundaries that we want to put on them. They don't have that already in their head. So they're able to just, as you said, dive into the things that they love.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do. Like my son, he can name over 45 dinosaurs correctly.
I love that.
And then like my yeah, I it's just crazy. Or like even my friend Lisa, she homeschools her daughter is 13 and she can draw. She literally draws 12 hours a day.
Ignore that. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
out of here soon.
I know.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. All right, all right. I got one more question before I let you go
Yeah.
because I did want to get to this one too. What's your favorite type of bread to make? Because I know you're a
So,
baker too.
I know sourdough. I love
Sourdough.
sourdough, but
Okay.
yeah, my cheddar jalapeno one is really good.
Oh,
That one's my
okay.
favorite.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I got to get out of here. Maybe we'll get a part two sometime in the future. But yeah, again, this has been Megan McCarthy. I'm coming. I know I'm coming. Sorry. Thank you. This has been Megan McCarthy. I'm Sonny. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And thank you again, Megan, for making the time. I appreciate you. Bless you. We'll talk
Yeah.
again soon.
All right. Bye.
We gon' be okay. So we gon' be came through chillin', my lock on my chain. Never noticed that the float is on the route like a chain. You might catch a nigga spillin', but he never complain. And the way he keep it G, you niggas never gon' change me. I think I'm royalty, but loyalty fame.